interim protection order can be granted, an occupation order or a tenancy order, and then the respondent is then summoned to court thereafter. The magistrate can make order for counseling, for referral to a domestic violence group, etc. As it relates to this, and I wish to bring to the attention of the participants here, that for example in the South, if an individual was supposed to go to the South and report an issue of domestic violence, they are sent to Castries. So there is no family, there is no magistrate in the South per se that would be able to deal with that individual. They will be sent to Castries. And what in a situation like this, what if the person has no bus fare to come to Castries? The people in the South has no petty cash to assist that person, so what do? Do you return to that situation without getting help? Thereafter, when they come to Castries, depending on the situation, my understanding is that they are then sent to the post office to buy stamps for $10 before they to process the application. You know, look at the time, and this person with a black eye walking across to the post office to get stamps to process their application for a protection order. That is not acceptable. The third point, what if that person wishes to report to another agency? A formal referral is normally done. It's a standard referral. It does not include in any great details the client's story per se. And that is what is normally done if they wish to go to another agency. So, but from the Crown prosecution standpoint, we normally see them after the matter has been in the system. So, yes, any questions? I did not hear you.
Normally from the court, the magistrate coming down.
On a Thursday? Yes.
Yeah, normally we have a magistrate who goes down on a Thursday. We also have social workers who travel to Beaufort on a Monday, on a Tuesday, and on a Wednesday. Sometimes on a Thursday as well. Just to say to the public as well, sometimes clients are exempted from paying the $10. Again, based on the story. And what we've also experienced, sometimes the clients does not always say the truth. One other concern, about perhaps 60% of our referrals are from the police. And we are guided by the Domestic Violence Summary Proceeding Act. And there are times when we actually have to send the client back to the police to say if they could press charges through the police. Yeah? It is because sometimes, as the Act would state, that the client, it has to be domestic violence perpetrated on one member of a household onto another member of the same household. So sometimes the family court is unable to process, that case and put in an application for court. Any other questions? Yeah?
When it comes to protection order and application order, before, when a client comes to you and tell you that they have been assaulted or they want to leave, do you all, say the person is from January, do you all, before you all give the person the orders, do you all call the police station to find out if the officers know anything about the situation?
Sometimes they do. In processing them, we would ask, were you referred by another social agency, or if it is that you came on your own? More often, clients are referred by the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, and based on that, there's no need to contact the police station.
Because I asked that question because I've had a few situations where a protection order or occupation order was given, and then the person who you all gave it to is the aggressor in situation. And then there are also situations where you'll give both the man and a woman. They live in the same house, and then you'll give them the protection order of the situation.
Now you keep saying you won.
The magistrate.
The magistrate makes that determination, not Eugene Greg. Okay, so let us just establish that. The magistrate makes that determination, but you'd remember I also said sometimes the client don't necessarily tell you the truth. And what happened is that both parties are, before the magistrate. So you as the perpetrator or the alleged perpetrator, just want to make sure that I'm using the right terms, would be in a position to tell the magistrate otherwise. Yes, please.
Extend on what she said. Most times, when the magistrate gives the protection order, it is normally for ill treating, not in full. Sometimes when she gives and they live in the same household, it's for ill treating.
For what?
Ill treating. Because there is a protection order in full, and there is one for ill treating.
What does that mean?
The one for ill treating indicating that both parties, you're not supposed to curse, insult, and that nothing.
I think you should never have said that. No, I think you should have never said that because that makes absolutely no sense to me. I have a question. Because what she's saying there, that strikes to the core of the question that I wanted to ask, but she asked it. No, I'm not saying.
Okay, before you go on, Ms. Michelle here, just to say that when the victim comes in, requests application for protection order. Normally it's a protection order and they say a restraining order. They may be granted what is called an interim protection order. It is because at that time the magistrate has not heard the other party. And it's very vital to hear both sides of the story because you remember I indicated that the truth is not often, told. And we have to do a lot of prompting, a lot of, trying to get it out of them because sometimes even you as the social worker, some things that are said to you, you may want to say, this is not really adding up, And thereafter, after both parties has, presented themselves to court, magistrate is the one who decides whether she's going to grant the full protection order.
But my question,
which also has a power of arrest.
But my question is this. I have personally experienced somebody taking jail because the aggressor knew how to lie so well that the victim was jailed. Okay, and this happens everywhere. The victim cannot lie, but the aggressor can lie, and so he or she lies his or her way out of a bad situation. But to my mind, there are situations where the person comes, and as you just said, they cannot determine because they haven't heard the other side of the story. The other person comes, says whatever, but no investigation is done. Right there and then, you're going to say, this person, you have no way of determining because you're only speaking, you're only hearing one person. And I have a case pending like this where the victim was thrust out of her home with her child. And the aggressor didn't even want the house. All he wanted was to see his wife suffer. Now, I'm saying in a case like this, shouldn't there be some investigation? Shouldn't you have gone to the neighborhood and find out background check? I mean, this is a person who has had to jump out of a window for fear of her life. This is a person who has had to have an escape route, an escape plan.
You want to continue defending it or you want to facilitate?
No, the person is asking in relation to the magistrate. I understand the question that is being asked. However, when the parties or a party appear before the court, the magistrate is the one who sits on the matter, who normally takes certain things into consideration. And the magistrate is the one who makes a decision whether or not an interim protection order will be granted And if that is so granted, when both parties are before her, then she has to weigh whatever it is that both parties are saying and then decide what she's going to do as it relates to what they have said. And both of them would have given sworn evidence. And so that will be taken into consideration.
But furthermore, just to conclude what I was saying before, these magistrates, to my mind, need training. Because a magistrate cannot say to somebody who comes as a victim and says, my husband is abusing me, and say to her, lady, don't you understand what I'm saying to you? They need some etiquette training, because that makes no sense. That don't fly. That makes no sense.
Hold on.
They need some training.
I just want to say to Ms. Jean-Pierre that the family court has a staffing of just 4 social workers and 1
so
counselor. No. Hold on, please. And to go on to further say that there are times that we carry out social inquiry report, which is an investigation in itself, which is detailed. We actually go out to the victim homes and to, investigate, and based on our findings, it assists as well in court. So in terms of saying that the magistrate needs training and that sort of thing, I think perhaps all of us may need it as well, but there are loopholes in the system. We need to, this is reality that we are serving the entire St. Lucia.
Just quickly, I see you have commencing order. Can you just tell us what it's about?
Okay, that one is when the 2 parties are renting. It's almost like the protection order and the occupation order, but more often is when the parties are renting the house. It doesn't belong to the applicant nor the respondent. So that's when that application is prepared on behalf of the clients.
You indicated that of the same household. Now, we have a lot coming to the stations a lot that they don't live in the same house.
Yeah, so they have to go.
She needs protection against him because he's coming there. They have a child together and what's going on. He's talking and this kind
So that's where we seek the assistance of the police, because there are other courts, but it is not a matter for the family court, because they are not considered family at that point, because they are not living in the same household.
Our legislators need to be here to change that.
They're not living in the same house, the same situation, not in the same house. But the one has to support his child. So how will you deal with that, the support? Because he has to bring whatever.
All right, all of us seems to be talking at the same time, so. All right, just to answer her question. The family court makes provision for child maintenance, and all of us would know it's, the maximum is $200. It is not that normally the father takes the money to the house. The maximum is $200, Mama. Get your facts. Get the facts before you try to correct me, yeah? You're not listening, right? So it doesn't say that the man you need to have any contact with him, because you can come to the agency to make the payment. He comes to the agency to make the payment. Okay? Okay? We can see it, right? Okay.
Again, excellent points. Excellent points, excellent questions, and anticipating the discussion in the afternoon. What it also tells me is that you do need this. You do need to be knowing what other agencies are doing, what their protocol is. It's going to illuminate what we need to be discussing in the afternoon, and it will drive what we talk about tomorrow. So I'd encourage you to let the groups give their presentation, let them talk about their protocol, keeping in mind no one will be suppressed, no differing of opinion is a problem. That is exactly what we want this afternoon. So rest assured. I do have a feeling that they're preparing lunch for us over there, so I want to, when they come in and tell us, it should be very soon. But in the meantime, maybe this group could go, and then we will either have... Since I teach criminal justice, and most of my students become police officers, I reserved the last place for So you can blame me if that is a problem. But I thought we might have a lot to discuss. So it might be better if this group goes now. It's possible that we would break for lunch at that point, and then we can come back and have more time to discuss the protocol from the criminal justice.